Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to the Overnight Feeds recap for night number 91 of Big Brother Season 25. Hope y'all all had a fantastic Halloween evening, enjoyed all kinds of candy and pumpkins and everything else. The house guests certainly had fun yesterday. They got a little bit of a house party to celebrate Halloween. You normally don't have Halloween inside Big Brother, right? But this is a special year, so they got to do that. They got some costumes. We'll talk about all of that as part of the feeds themselves. But before we do, just as a reminder, we've got Felicia, Sari on the block. One of them heading home on Thursday. Almost certainly, it's looking even more. If it could look even more, Sari's going to be going home on Thursday. But there's still plans afoot by Matt and Jag and Bowie Jane to make it maybe look less certain, to stress Felicia out, and just go that extra little bit to try to irritate her in preparation for the HOH on Thursday. So we'll talk about that as well. And then with all kind of the sniping at each other and everything that we've had going on, we did start off the day with a nice moment. I enjoyed seeing it. We had pretty early in the morning, right after they got up, we had Sari and Felicia in the comic room. Felicia told Sari, said, look, you're my best friend in the house. And even though I may have thrown you, I did throw you under the bus at times, that I love her. I'm so glad that you're in the house. Sari responds, tells Felicia that she loves her, and they both kind of apologize for maybe doing each other dirty sometimes. It happens in the house, right? So they apologize to each other for that. Sari tells Felicia that she's never met anyone like her ever before. They talk about wanting to extend the friendship till outside the house as well. And so it was just a nice moment. They finish off talking about how much they love each other, giving each other a big hug. They're real. I like to see it. They're realizing the game's a game. The friendships are different. You don't have to, everything doesn't have to be always about the game. And they've recognized this. And I just like seeing it. It was a nice, positive moment that we needed after 72 hours or so of not so positive moments, right? So yeah, I like seeing it. It put me in a good mood right to start off the day. All right, we do have let's see, what else do we have going on? They go on from that to talk a little bit of game, as they should. I mean, they are both on the block, right? Sari and Felicia. Now, let me say this before we're going further. It is interesting. I know part of the plan, I think Bowie Jane at one point had said, oh, once the two of them are on a block, we'll get them going against each other. Who knows what kind of ammo is going to be spilled as they throw each other under the bus, everything else. I really haven't seen that much campaigning against each other. Yeah, there was a little bit of suggesting that I'd be better for your games and all of that, but it's been positive campaigning. I don't think that Matt and Jag and Bowie Jane are getting this finger pointing from Felicia and Sari and absolutely throwing each other under the bus this week the way they expected. So, and with these two making up, I don't expect to see that kind of campaigning between now and Thursday. Maybe it'll change as these people fight to survive. But so far, so good. All right. We do have Sari and Felicia talking a little bit about Matt. And they have a fear that Matt really hadn't been playing his own game, that he's been using Jag as a bit of a shield, but that he may have messed up. I do think he may have messed up winning this HOH. They're afraid that he may have messed up, that he can't play in the next HOH, that it's looking likely that he could lose to Bowie Jane in terms of capturing one of these final two chairs. It could easily be Jag and Bowie Jane instead. They just think that Matt's in a rough position at this point in time. And once again, I think it was Felicia who again compares Matt to Kyland from season 23, who got cut by Xavier, even though he thought they had a final two and all of that. So they're fearing a little bit for Matt and his position in his game. And I think it's a valid fear. We see throughout the evening, especially late into the evening, Bowie Jane and Jag continue to just seem like they're bonding more so. And I do see the two of them maybe getting to a final two, unless Matt is able to win the final HOH comps and drag one of them with him instead. We'll find out. All right. Everyone started celebrating Halloween a little bit early yesterday. They were all wearing black for Halloween. It took a little while to figure out, but they were all trying to dress up like ninjas. I think a tough outfit for Bowie Jane. She never wears black, right? Yeah, now they're all wearing black. Felicia realized that she didn't even bring anything black into the house, so she I think got something from Cerise. So eventually they're all dressed up like ninjas a little bit. Later, they did get some costumes. They look like superhero BB Comics type costumes. Tough to tell because Suri's still wearing stuff underneath her robe. I get rid of those robes. Don't ever bring those things back. We didn't have those robes during my season, and I don't remember anyone wearing the HOH robe downstairs either. It just seemed like bad karma to be doing that, but they've been wearing their robes anywhere. But they did get superhero outfits of some sort. Suri had, as you see, Suri had a purple wig. Felicia had a red one. Matt had a yellow one. So they look like something from a Dr. Zeus Zoozicle or something. But they did get some costumes as well. They also found out they were going to have a Halloween party a little bit later. They're getting Chinese food. This sounds pretty good to me. A little Chinese food as well. So they're all excited talking about the Halloween party. So we had that. Now, apparently, with fewer and fewer people in the house, they're starting to lose a room here or there. I've heard that the have not room, the HOH room is going to, I guess, disappear. So they're not going to have that for too much longer, theoretically. They are losing the have not room. Apparently, Matt was told he needed to go ahead and move out. Now, are they losing the have not room just because they don't need that much room and they want to force Matt to be with the other three after Thursday? Maybe. Or is there some kind of weird little something set up for that have not room? Maybe they're setting that up as part of the final three HOH competition. Maybe it's going to be used somehow as part of a veto ceremony. We don't know, and I don't know. I'm just guessing. But Matt was forced to move out of the have not room, so he had to bring all of his stuff downstairs. He ended up moving, I think, into the that scramble room, the room with the that Matt and that Corey and America spent a lot of time in. So he's moving in there. Talk about moving rooms and all that, and being isolated and all that. Wouldn't it be great if Felicia and Suri had been in that comic room forever? Wouldn't it be great if Felicia just said, I don't want to feel like I'm isolating y'all from myself, so I'm going to move into the scary room with you, Jag, and with you, Bowie Jane. I just want to make sure that we stay on good terms, so I'm going to move in here with y'all, and I'll try to keep my snoring to a minimum, right? Wouldn't that be? I'd love to see it. That'd be fantastic. She won't, but I'd love to see that. All right, but Matt has moved downstairs. We've got Bowie and Matt in the HOH room. I think Jag was in the diary room at the time. Bowie Jane is said, I invited them to come up and play cards with us. I don't know that there's that much that we can do. So it does sound like after getting called out a little bit by Suri that maybe pressure cracker isn't quite as much in play. Sounds like they're at least doing a little bit to try to include them, of at least getting them to come up and play cards, because she's saying she at least invited them to. So I guess that's something. All right, we got Jag starting to tell Matt that production told him how the next HOH was going to go. And as soon as he starts to say something about, they told me about the next HOH comp or HOH comps coming up, something like that. As soon as he starts to say that, the feed's cut away. So we don't know exactly what he told Matt. But I do wonder if maybe they told Matt or told Jag that you can't be going in there and saying things wrong about the HOH competitions coming up. If you do it, we're going to come on and clarify to everyone how the rules work. So you can either clarify or we're going to do it. We'll give you the chance to do so first. I don't know that for certain. I don't recall anything like that. There is, every once in a while, you'll hear someone talk about you're not allowed to use production as part of a strategy. And normally that means you can't go in and say, production said that I can compete in the next HOH when I can't really, or you can't do things like that. So maybe it's something along those lines. We don't know since the feed's cut off, but maybe they're going to move away from trying to mislead Felicia about how those HOH comps, because I didn't hear anything more about it after that. All right, talking about moving down to a different room. Matt's laughingly talking about the fact that he started off with 4 pairs of shoes that I guess he brought into the house. And now he has like 20 pairs of shoes that he's moving around. And just a little inside scoop on that. as a bit of an FYI, on a lot of these competitions that we do inside the house, you're given an outfit to wear, right? Costumes, whatever it is. Well, lots of times it comes with tennis shoes as well. A lot of those comps, you're going to see a lot of people wearing black tennis shoes, Axis or what, I don't remember what they are, but black tennis shoes. Those are given to you. They take our sizes before we go in the house. After the competition is over, you can take those shoes off, leave them outside. If you do, they just disappear and they'll show up at some later competition for someone else or for you to wear again later. But you also can keep them if you want. Keep them in your room. And if you do, I guess they go and buy some new ones for later competitions. I know at one point I had quite a few of those shoes in my room as well. I think I took one pair with me home, so I still have it. But the rest of them, they just get recycled. I had shoes that had tape on the inside for, I think, Josh and Derek, a few different people. So they just keep getting reused over and over again, which sounds really ooh, but you're sharing a house with 16 people. You get used to it pretty quick. But yeah, so shoes being used over and over again. Matt's laughing that he now has like 20 pairs of shoes in his inventory. I doubt he'll be taking them all home with them, but we'll see. So we had that. All right, all the house guests got together. Apparently, they're all complaining about how cold it is. Maybe that's why they've been wearing their robes, because it's so cold in the rest of the house. So they've almost been forced to move up to the HOH room just to try to stay warm, which is funny. During the summer, the HOH room is the coldest house in the whole thing, but apparently now it's maybe the warmest based on how the ductwork goes. So they're all upstairs in the HOH room telling scary stories that turn into travel stories. Bowie's telling a story about being in the middle of India. Jag's talking about being in a runaway rickshaw and wanting to jump out, but they couldn't because it was moving too fast. Felicia's talking about being lost in New York City, walking down the streets with a suitcase. And if I recall, a limo driver pulled up and took her to the hotel she needed to go to. So little scary situations here and there, scary travel stories. Once Big Brother's over for the season, Cliff Notes Live, maybe I'll start throwing out a few of my own scary travel stories, because I guarantee anything they want to tell, I got them beat. Trust me, I got them beat on the scary travel story. So we'll do that a little bit later. All right, but they do hang out together and tell a few stories here and there, and they're decently getting along with each other. All right, we've got Cirie and Felicia in the comic room. Felicia's talking about saying, we had a Final Four. We had a Final Four with Matt and Jag. What happened? And so they're just questioning where everything went wrong, where the wheels came off the train. Felicia's saying that they had told her at one point, I think Jag specifically, I think it was Jag, maybe it was Matt. I can't remember that. Maybe Felicia's saying they told her they were going to backdoor Bowie Jane this week. But then Jag didn't use a veto, and obviously that wasn't actually the plan. And Felicia's pointing out that they never put Bowie Jane up, and that should tell Cirie and Felicia something about what their actual plans were. You think? Yeah, I think the writing's pretty much on the wall once you see the veto not being used. At one point, she says something about, for being a Final Four, for having two of those Final Four sitting on the block that week, just doesn't seem like that's necessarily their top priority. Yeah, I don't think it is, Felicia. No, not going to have a Final Four of you and Cirie and Matt and Jag. We know that's going to be the case. Not going to be the case. All right, we've got Bowie and Jag studying everything about the house in case it's part of a competition. They've been doing this a lot. How many? Everything. How many holes in the piece of cheese in the have-not room? I mean, they've studied everything. It's incredible. You have nothing else to do except studying there, and they've been doing a lot of that. So they're studying everything. They're down in the bathroom. Bowie's complaining that Matt had given them bad information about the color of the bathroom, or a color in the bathroom. Now, I don't know if that's intentional, if that's what she's pointing out, or maybe she's just implying that as a way to continue to maybe make Jag feel like should be a little tighter with Bowie Jane as opposed to Matt. But she's saying, yeah, Matt gave us the wrong information about the color down here. So yeah, just a little seed being planted, not a mustard seed, a seed that grows into a weed, I guess. So she's throwing out there. Now, they had another little conversation while they were down there. Jag mentions to Bowie Jane that Cirie had asked him if she had his vote, and he said yes. But then he turns around and tells Bowie Jane, says, but she didn't ask if if she had my vote to save her. She just asked if I had her vote. Well, yeah, she does have my vote to evict her. That's what I'm talking about. I never said she had my vote to save her. It's actually to evict her. So I guess he thinks that's tricky and all of that, and that he won that particular argument with her because he didn't lie to her. I just feel like Cerie's going to feel a little bit differently about the way that conversation goes or went when she finds out that she's headed out the door, when she's deciding who she wants to vote for to win the $750,000. I cannot picture that there's going to be time in the finale where Jag's going to be trying to explain it. Oh no, semantics wise, I meant I was going to send you out the door, Cerie, so you can't hold it against me, right? I didn't lie to you. Yeah, I don't think it's going to go that way. The jury management this season is just non-existent. I continue to be amazed that none of these house guests seem to care. It's almost like they've said, well, they're going to hate all of us, so they can't hate any of us worse than anyone else. I don't agree with that. Even hearing the conversation earlier with Felicia and Cerie talking about feeling like Matt maybe hurt his game and all of that, just suggests to me that right now, if they had to, Matt's getting the vote definitely over Jag, still maybe over Bowie Jane as well. There is jury management to be done, and they aren't doing it. But he felt very proud that he didn't lie to her, but he was able to deceive her with the way he answered. All right, we end up losing the feeds for a couple of hours. I don't know, around 4:30 or so, I think, Big Brother time, or no, 6:30, around 6:30 Big Brother time. They came back about 8:30 or so, and we discovered they had their Halloween party. I guess they got their Chinese food, they got alcohol, they got pumpkins. I imagine with the feeds being gone, it could be because they want footage for the episodes. I'm sure that's part of it, but I have a feeling there was probably some music being played and just able to kick back and relax for a little bit, carving pumpkins. We saw the pumpkins. Now, before I forget it, Jag did cut his thumb while cutting a pumpkin. Later in the evening, he told Bowie Jane, he said, yeah, I can't believe I almost cut my thumb off. Maybe a little hyperbole. I was trying to watch. I couldn't really tell how bad it was, but he did cut his thumb. Could that affect any of these final couple of challenges if it's not quite up to speed? Maybe. We'll find out. But he cut his thumb a little bit. It looks like they each got a chance to carve a pumpkin. Pretty standard looking faces. No artist in this group in terms of pumpkin carvers necessarily. They all had pretty much standard pumpkins, the triangle eyes and a little toothy smile and all of that. Except for Jag, who carved a BB-25 into his, and Matt, who had a pretty standard face, but then he had a little M heart R or R heart M. Probably more R heart M. Little Riley loves Matt on the side of the pumpkin as well. I gotta say, this Riley obsession, is that too strong a word to use? It's certainly a lot of conversation. This Riley preoccupation by Matt, it's I'll just call it interesting. We'll see where it goes afterwards, but they spent 2 weeks together, right? And I don't remember that they went out like the scene from Casablanca. It's not like they went out to the romantic music playing and everything. It seemed pretty calm and sedate as she headed out and saying, yeah, you're pretty good too, buddy. But I don't know. He continues to really focus on Riley. So we'll see what happens on finale night. But yeah, he carved a little R heart M into the side of his pumpkin. All right, at one point, Matt and Jag and Bowie Jane decide to take the pumpkins up to the HOH room where they can turn off the lights. I've said before, the only room that you have control over the lights is the HOH room. So they're going to take it up there so they can turn off the lights and get a cool dark picture with the pumpkins and the candles inside and everything. And yeah, that's it seems like a reasonable idea. It seems like something that I would consider doing while I was in the house as well. But once they get up there and they start setting it up, Jag at one point then says, yeah, I don't want their pumpkins in the shot, because they also have that camera they've been given once a week to take shots, photos and stuff. And Jag said, I don't want Felicia and Cerie's pumpkins in here. I just want our photos in here. So they move theirs off to the side and take a photo just of Matt and Jag's and Bowie Jane's pumpkins for their photos. And how just petty. Hey, you put them all in there. There's 5 people that all worked on pumpkins together. Yeah, that has nothing to do with gameplay. Take the picture of all 5 of them, but they don't do it. They even had a picture. They had Felicia take a picture of the 3 of them together holding pumpkins, and Felicia was willing to do it. But yeah, even with pumpkin carving, they're trying to isolate a little bit. All right, then later we have let's talk about Petty a little bit. And I feel like all I'm doing is griping and complaining about what's happening in the house and targeting Matt and Jag and Bowie Jane a lot. Sari and Felicia certainly did a little bit of their own petty stuff at different parts of the season. So I'm not absolving them from some of this behavior as well. It's just they're not in charge right now. So they're bearing the brunt of it as opposed to at other points in the season. So yeah, I mentioned let's talk a little bit more petty. We had later Matt and Bowie Jane and Jag in the kitchen. The big quandary. Where is King Solomon to make the decisions when you need them? Because there's 5 people in the house and they got 6 beers. How in the world do you split up 6 beers amongst 5 people? How in the world could you do it? Well, they spend a lot of time discussing it and who had beers ahead of them getting the 5 beers in, and just way too much conversation for one single beer. But finally they decide they're going to take this 6th beer. They pull out 5 glasses. I think it's Bowie Jane that's pouring these 5. Okay, yeah, it is, because she says she's a real bartender, so she can do it. Pouring 5 beer into 5 different glasses. Once they get done, they are looking at this thing. If they had a microscope, they would be using it to figure out which glasses have just a little tiny bit more beer in it than the other glasses, because they want to make sure they choose those glasses. So they leave Sari and Felicia with the 2 glasses that have the minuscule little bit less beer in it than the other 5. What are they? They 6 years old? Really? That's yeah. They're very focused on making sure that Felicia and Sari don't get the tiniest bit more beer than any of them do. So they figured it out that we'll just split the 6 beer 5 ways. It took them way too long to come up with that. Even to the point, after they pour it, they can't even pick who gets which beer, because they have to wait for the foam to settle so they can just make sure the levels are exact, and they pick the ones that they want. They're doing it the wrong way. When I had beer after winning the HOH, I used it as bribes. I gave it to people that I wanted to try to curry a little favor with. I wanted to get on better terms with. It sure seems like one of these 3 could take their beer and give it to Sari or Felicia and say, look, it's been a tough week. I know y'all are on the block. I'm giving you a little extra just because you deserve it. It's 1 beer. You'll survive without a beer. All right. Later, we've got Bowie and Jag sneaking up to the HOH room with another bottle of some, was it apple cider vinegar? Some kind of drink, but they snuck up stairs all worried. I guess they're going to be seen. Meanwhile, Sari and Felicia are in bed, one or the other snoring away. I don't think they're too worried about that at that point in time, but we do have Bowie and Jag and Matt upstairs playing some drinking games. At some point, they're trying to play some kind of number repeating game, and I never could figure out the rules or how it works. But when you say certain numbers, you have to oink like a pig and do different things. And they're just playing games while they're up there doing that. So they do that for a while. They do turn to strategy talk after a little bit. The 3 are now talking about a new approach to the pressure cooker, the pressure cracker, I think is what they're calling it. A new approach about maybe, and I think Jag brought it up, but Bowie Jane certainly all on board and mentioning it as well. That they're talking about the idea of maybe telling Felicia that she's going home this week. And the idea of it, at one point they said, let's make her uncertain as to whether she's going to stay home or not, go home or not, or go to the jury house or not. They were going to make her uncertain so she'd be stressed out the whole week long. Maybe she's not looking as stressed out as they hoped she would be, because now they're saying, instead of doing that, let's just tell her that she is going home, that it's the end of the road for her, because if we do that, she'll stop studying. She'll stop trying to get ready for the competitions going forward. She won't be prepared when Thursday comes along. Maybe that's the approach we need to take so that we have the best chance of her not winning the HOH competition. So that's been brought up as a new way to do it. And they're talking about that. Jag's saying, yeah, I'm going to tell her that I'm not necessarily certain what I'm going to do with my vote, or I'm not locked in yet. I just don't know what I'm going to do. And they're going to say that someone's going to tell her that Wednesday night right before everyone goes to bed, so that she can't go to bed now that she's thinking that that she may not have their votes after all, and that she's going home. So they've got it all worked out yet again. I just think it's overkill. I don't think it's necessary. Now they do have the justification of trying to do what they can to make her as less prepared as possible for the HOH competition, and that truly is gameplay. And so from that standpoint, do what you have to do, I suppose. I just think it's unnecessary, overkill, and just not a good look. Now we did have at one point Jag. I think he's feeling a little bruised from being called out by Sari, because I know at one point yesterday he did mention, he said, Felicia said she felt isolated by us, and I don't want to isolate her. Well, they're still doing a decent job of it, but it just makes me wonder, did someone whisper that maybe that was happening, or was it just purely the fact that Sari pointed out maybe Jag hadn't really looked at it as much from that side until Sari reminded him. I don't know. They're still doing a lot of stuff, but he did mention it at that one point. All right, so that's the new game plan, is that maybe Wednesday night they're going to tell her that, yeah, man, you're going home. You don't actually have our votes, and get her all stressed out or not prepping for the comp because of that. All right, finally, we've got Matt heading to bed, calling it a night. So now we have just Jag and Bowie Jane alone. They're talking about, I think Bowie Jane brings up, says, Matt really wants to send out Felicia. He thinks that she's more dangerous and all. And Jag gets back into the same discussion, same points that he's made before about how he feels like Sari is more dangerous. He just thinks that she needs to go. Bowie Jane's on board with it. They both have basically agreed that now Sari's got to go home this week, regardless of what Matt thinks. So again, I do think it's going to be Sari heading out the door. We've got that. Jag is saying they spent a lot of time kind of complaining about Felicia a little bit and some of the things she's said, and things to get in their heads and all that. But at one point they're talking about, Jag, I think, is the one who mentions, says, yeah, Felicia thought I was going to backdoor you. Or no, it's Bowie Jane who says, she was fine with the idea that you were going to backdoor me this week. She didn't seem to have any issue with that. Well, no, when there's only 5 of you in the house, you're not ever worried about someone else getting sent out the door if it's not you. But she seemed a little perturbed that Felicia wasn't more concerned about the idea that it could have been a Bowie Jane backdoor. And so she mentions that, and Jag's laughing, saying, Felicia couldn't even question me after I didn't use the veto, because if she had, she could find herself up on the block as well, or going home instead of just being on the block, which is a valid point. Sari or Felicia really can't come and say, I thought you were supposed to backdoor Bowie Jane while she's on the block, while she's counting on Bowie Jane to be one of the votes to send her out the door, or to save her from going out the door. So yeah, he's saying she can't even really complain, because she knows if she does it, that she could be heading out instead of Sari. And they're talking about, Matt says, all she has to do is behave. All she has to do is not do anything this week. Just lay back and not do a thing, and she'll be good this week. So she doesn't need to be doing anything fancy with that. So they're talking about that. They're complaining a little bit that Jag's complaining that Felicia had made it sound like maybe Matt was coming after him, and he didn't really like hearing that. Again, it's just them upset that Felicia's trying to play the game at this point and trying to make some targets against each other, and so they're using that as a way to bond closer together. Again, I really think Matt is in trouble at this point in time. I think Jag and Bowie Jane, the more they talk together, the more they seem to align in their objectives, as opposed to Matt, who's got a little bit different goals and sending out Felicia and all that. I think Matt could easily be in trouble when it comes to final 3 going down to a final 2, unless he wins that competition and decides who goes to those final 2 chairs. If not, we very well could see a Jag and Bowie Jane decision to be made amongst the jurors, and who knows which way that goes. That could be interesting. And there you have it, guys. They called tonight around 2 o'clock or so, Big Brother in time. They're all in bed, 4 o'clock Houston time. So in summary, Sari's probably still going home. They had fun with their pumpkins. Jag and Bowie Jane seem like they're tighter and tighter together. Operation Pressure Cracker is still in play, but I think the pots and pans idea has disappeared, thankfully. I don't think that Felicia is cracking under pressure the way they expected. which doesn't surprise me at all. She's got a lot of years under her belt, a lot of experiences. She was in the military. It's going to take more than that to get to Felicia. So now they've come up with a new game plan. We'll see if that comes into play or if it's just more talk. I don't know. We'll find out. But until then, guys, tomorrow's Eviction Thursday. We'll see if anything happens on Wednesday. I don't think it will, but we shall see. I will be back tomorrow morning to give you an update, talk a little bit about the upcoming eviction in HOH. It's going to be a good day. Y'all get out, enjoy your Wednesday. Until tomorrow morning, cheers, my friends. SKD 143.